Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is another exciting continuing saga of Tech Tuesdays, a joint effort with South Florida Tech Hub and the Owwll App. I am one of your lovely hosts for today, Jeffry Ullman, Director of Membership. I'm also on the Owwll App. If you have the Owwll App, thank you. If you don't have the Owwll App, you can go ahead and download it. And if you download it and use the referral code of thank you, one word, you'll get $10 as a thank you, pun intended. So thank you for joining. Again, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for watching live or on the replay. I've got a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get started for today. So for South Florida Tech Hub, we have announced a new name for Tech Palooza. It's going to be Tech Hub Pulse, and we've set a date for that. It's going to be Thursday, December 4th. So have any thoughts or questions or sponsor questions, let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you. By the way, back to the Owwll App. I have office hours every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. So reach out to me during the office hours or as I go live periodically throughout the week. We've covered all the major sports this quarter. We have a soccer event coming up Thursday, January 23rd. It's going to be a family event. Bring your kids, come out, play some soccer, not jingle and mingle. That's what we did in December. Mingle, you can jingle if you want.
Flashback.
Come and meet, have fun, bring your kids. It's going to be at the Beyond Bankcard Field in Davie. Then coming up Friday, March 7th, we have a golf event for all you golfers. It's going to be at the Plantation Preserve Golf Course, same place it was last year. Great golf course. Come out, golf, and have some fun as well. Kudos to our presenting sponsor, Crown. I need more coffee, or maybe I've had too much coffee.
Celsius?
Crown Castle. Sorry. And then for you tennis fans, on Thursday, March 20th, South Florida Tech Hub is partnering with the Miami Open big tennis event in Miami. It'll be at the Hard Rock Stadium. So come out and have fun and watch some famous tennis players, I guess, and mingle. Any questions? They're all out on Eventbrite. You can follow up with me. We've just announced our participation in IT Expo, which will be February 11th through 13th. Great trade show. We have discount codes. Breaking news, first place we're promoting them. You can always call me, but I'm going to go ahead and read it, but you'll have to probably call me to get it. So for free tickets, it's SF Tech Hub, one word. And if you added 25 for any of the paid tickets, we'll give you a 25% discount. I think that's enough for me for now. Denis, why don't you introduce yourself? Cindy, introduce yourself. And then I'll have Cindy introduce our lovely and vivacious expert of the day. So, Denis.
Thank you for the intro, Jeffrey. Hi, everybody. This is Denis from Media Components. Excited to be here again as one of the co-hosts. I am from Media Components, full-service digital marketing agency, and really looking forward to a conversation today with Jessica from Tech Runway. My other co-host is Cindy from Media. Cindy, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Denis and Jeffrey and Jessica. Cindy Metzler. I have a marketing and public relations firm for over 20 years in South Florida. We focus on a lot of tech companies, so very relevant here. And I'm also co-organizer of TEDx Boca Raton for almost a decade. And that's probably how I know Jessica Beaver here from FAU Tech Runway and this amazing, incredible power woman right here. And I'm just going to plant a couple seeds because I know we have a lot of conversations, a lot of fun things to talk about. But we did our VIP party for many years at FAU Tech Runway for TEDx Boca Raton. I know the first one was in 2018. It was incredible. We worked very closely together. And FAU Tech Runway has a mentorship program, a program with incubator, right? Yep. So I've known a lot of companies over the years, and there's a couple of amazing success stories. Modernizing Medicine is one. Child Rescue Coalition is another that I know, but maybe you can tell us about FAU Tech Runway, you, Jessica, and how you're such a power woman over there.
Thank you, Cindy. It's great seeing you too. I usually see you
Yes.
at the Maverick. or
I
we used to go to
know.
TEDx's, and now I see you here. So I'm really happy to be here. Do you want me just to do an intro?
Yep.
Or
Quick thing. You might want to start with the branding, since
I
Cindy
will.
used the old branding.
So, well, I'll just, no, this is good. I'll just to kick things off, I am the associate director of the formerly called FAU Tech Runway, and we have officially rebranded. We are launching that this year, 2025.
Breaking news, new name.
Breaking news.
Woohoo! We're here to tell you first.
Yeah, we are now rebranding to the Runway at Florida Atlantic. And the reason this kind of ties into the entire upgrade and update of Florida Atlantic's, they've updated all their logos and their branding university-wise, and we happen to be in talks to make this name change for a while, and so it happened all around the same time. So while the university is rebranding themselves, they've changed their logo. We now refer to ourselves as Florida Atlantic or Florida Atlantic University versus FAU, as there's a lot of F schools, FAU, FIU, SAU, whatnot.
Yep.
There's a lot. So Florida Atlantic, and now we are the Runway at Florida Atlantic, which our goal is to make ourselves a little more enticing to a lot of entrepreneurs, not feeling like you have to be just in tech, because tech can be a scary word to some people who might want to do a nonprofit or something. So yeah, big news.
Love it.
Really excited.
So tell us a little more about yourself, Jessica.
Sure.
We were talking a little before the show. You've had an illustrious career. So tell us a little more about you.
Yeah. So I am actually a Boca Raton native. I was born and raised here,
wow.
which is a rarity. Maybe at my age, maybe not so much anymore. But born and raised in Boca. I ended up going to the University of Colorado Boulder for my undergrad, and became a ski bum for a little bit just because I could. And then I ended up deciding I need to start my career and really buckle down and figure out what I want to do. So I moved to New York, where I worked at the National Basketball Association for a number of years.
That's the NBA, folks.
That is the
Wow.
NBA.
Oh
The
my
NBA.
gosh.
Yeah, so
What position did you play?
Very cool.
I was
Were you
actually-
guard,
I was
center?
I was a 3-4 when I was in high school, but then I left it to the pros as soon as I got to college. But no, I think that's where it started. When I think back on my career, I think the NBA was really kind of the catalyst for me moving in the direction I'm going in, or I've gone in. Is everything is kind of an act of service. My job, which was player development, was we worked with the players on personal, financial, and social education. So you have an 18-year-old who walks in who's making $10 million a year,
Wow.
and they've never opened a bank account. They now have a lot of people throwing themselves at you. So it's just, we taught them the basics and then supported them throughout their career with everything from personal, families, divorces, kid issues, to they snuck a gun onto a plane because they forgot it. And now we're going, yeah, that was dumb. So that was really interesting. And it's segued into my next move, which was the Related Companies. They're very big in South Florida, owns the Dolphins, Steve Ross. And that, once again, is you're serving, you're supporting, you're working with clientele, you're trying to manage a lot of expectations and provide the best service you can. And then when I moved back here about 10 years ago, because we live where people vacation, so it's
Yes,
great
we
to be here.
do.
I ended up getting a job at the time, FAU Tech Runway under Kim Grand, the fantastic director who created this program. And I've been there since, and I started as a coordinator, and now I run the program. And we are here to serve our economic ecosystem in whatever way we can. So that's my spiel, everyone.
Amazing.
Great.
Talk a little about what two-part question,
Sure.
what the actual process would be for a new startup that would like to become affiliated, and then what are some of the services that the Runway at Florida Atlantic. Kind of has a nice ring to it. Provides.
Runway.
We're
yeah.
gonna have to figure. Like, I'm gonna have to retrain myself.
Exactly.
I have to retrain. I'm retraining myself too. So I'll give you a little background about the program itself. We are an early stage incubator for entrepreneurs. So from ideation, you have an idea, to commercialization. You have actually launched. Maybe you've made, you have a Series A, you've raised a little bit of funding, but you're at that point of you're about to take off. And that's where we'll, recommend you to like Global Ventures or Research Park or some of our other partners. But program wise, we are under the university, obviously with our name, but we serve faculty, staff, students, and the community at large. We have companies in Orlando, Tampa, Miami. Essentially, you just have to be located and able to do business in Florida. So programmatic wise, we provide entrepreneurial education and team-based mentoring based off MIT. We also provide access to resources through the university. So we have a lot of cores, there's maker spaces, there's professors, there's student interns. So pretty much whatever we can tap into the university, we will. And then you have what many other accelerators, incubators have. We have cloud credits. We have funds to offset things to conferences. So if there's a conference.
Cloud credit, excuse me, you mean like with
Oh,
AWS, Google Cloud?
AWS,
Oh, I did not
Google.
know. I did not know that. That's
a
good to
one.
know.
That's a good one. Yeah. Sorry, cloud credits. So
Being in the IT
AWS.
space, I knew what you meant by
Yes,
cloud credits, but
that's
it's not generally known.
It's not. So Google, Oracle, AWS, discounts for HubSpot.
Azure.
I do not have that, but I will look into
Okay,
that.
Microsoft, if you're out there,
Yeah.
you need to get some cloud credits to.
Yeah. We got Oracle
Right.
recently. So we just are here to provide the resources, support, and services we can, and it's all at no cost. So anybody who comes through our program, there is no money out of pocket. It is free program. So
Wow.
For those who are interested in maybe pursuing this or learning a little bit more, we have a website. I can share that with you, but we open applications twice a year. We accept about 20 to 30 per cycle. I am looking to increase that number. And this current cycle that we just accepted, I've increased because we kind of changed things around a little bit programmatically. But once you're in the program, you receive the education. Main part of the education is handled by Dr. Kevin Cox, a previous guest from a few weeks ago, superstar over there at the Adams Center.
We just call him Kevin.
Kevin, I call him Kevin too, but for everybody,
He does have a PhD, Dr. Cox.
Dr.
That's
Kevin
right.
Cox. He handles the majority of our education, and it's fantastic because he is able to customize and support the entrepreneurs, whether you are post MVP, you're actually out there, you have sales and customers versus you're a student with an idea. So we're really grateful to have the Adams Center and him fully engaged and involved in helping us create this programming so we can support anybody in our program. It's not a cookie cutter process. We also include customer discovery, which I think many, if not all, incubators and accelerators are now starting to require. And this is essentially market validation. Requiring our entrepreneurs to go out and hold interviews with 25, 50 people in 5 weeks just to confirm, do you have something? Is there an actual
Is it
customer
viable?
list?
Right.
And we require that now because 9 out of 10 times the company's going to go, I have something. Or what happens is we get a phone call going, I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to reassess because my customer doesn't want this. And we'd rather them figure that out now than 6 months from now and 10,000 out of pocket.
Right.
So,
You've invested all that time.
Your time is valuable. Your time is
course.
money. So money and time, we put that in place. And then we have another fantastic segment called the Entrepreneurs Exchange, hosted by Dr. Kevin Cox again. And that's where we bring in experts like a Cindy would come in and talk all things marketing and, what's going on in the ecosystem and tips and tricks. And these are actual businesses. So we have the education and then we have the mentoring. Mentoring, I think, is really the cornerstone. It's what differentiates our program from a lot of others. Not to say they don't do mentoring, but we do something unique. It's team-based. We make that a priority because if I threw something out to this group, each of you might have something different to tell me. It might be the same message, but I'm hearing it from 4 different voices or 3 different voices. So we follow that methodology. and they receive the team-based mentoring. And our mentors, a lot of them go above and beyond. They will do the work. Some of them will join the advisory boards once they've graduated. Some will introduce them to investors, networks. So it's a really great asset and resource for our mentors, for our entrepreneurs.
When is the next time you're accepting new applications?
We are going to be opening applications probably in 2 months. This being said, if you are interested in getting involved sooner or learning, just exploring a little sooner than waiting for the application process, you can always reach out to us, because most of our programming, while we do it organized under Tech Runway, a lot of it is a la carte for the community. So Kevin's boot camp, which we require all of our participants to go through, he offers that publicly. So anybody can come in and get the same kind of education and experience. And it also then gets them into our pipeline. Because once we have eyes on them, there might be something where I go, I have a network. I can make an introduction. You don't have to be in Florida Atlantic, the Runway at Florida Atlantic. You don't have to be in the Runway. But if you're in our ecosystem, happy to help and support.
So what's the requirements to get into the boot camp?
Sure. Boot camp or the program? The Runway.
Boot camp is first,
You
and then-
mentioned boot
Oh,
camp.
the boot
Anybody
camp.
can apply.
Oh, okay. So the boot camp is really just public. You just register, pay the fee. Not sure what that is. It's an 8-week boot camp hosted by the Adams Center of Entrepreneurship. Actually, for everybody, it starts next Wednesday. So if you're interested, you go to the Adams Center for Entrepreneurship or Google FAU Entrepreneur Adams Center and Boot Camp. It'll pop right up. It's our program is 5 weeks. The boot camp normally is 8 weeks, but he's customized it for us. But this is available 2 to 3 times a year, and usually in 8 weeks, every Thursday for 8 weeks.
So even if you're not part of the Runway at
Yes.
Florida Atlantic program, you can still attend the boot camp.
100%. You
Okay.
can still, if you're just kind of getting your toes wet, you just want to learn basics. You want to understand what a business plan is. That's the purpose of it. We have our participants go through it to ensure that everybody's walking in with the same baseline.
Yeah,
So you might be a little
I think
further.
it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great foundation,
Yeah.
right? And then tell us about the 5-week program. How does that work?
So I'll explain as much as I know, because Kevin is the leader of that, but it's business basics enhanced. So the individuals
People apply just so,
people apply. Yeah, you just go on, you apply. I think you pay the fee. I think they make it really easy because they want to make it accessible. And once you pay the fee, they go, it's going to be Wednesday at this location on the campus, 5:30 to 8:30. And Dr. Kevin Cox you have homework, you have assignments. He educates you on business plans, cap
it's only
tables.
$300 for the community.
Yeah, it's really reasonable.
Affordable, yeah.
Very
Mhm.
reasonable.
Mhm.
And it's made that way. We are a public university. And one thing I will say, I pride myself to saying this for the Runway, but it's all of our programs. Nothing we do is to make a profit. So our program is no cost. Dr. Cox's program is priced in a way for 8 weeks, 24 hours of education and whatnot. It's $10 an hour. It's accessible. It's easy. And it's made so that anybody can do this. And that's our goal, is we never want to create something where somebody goes, I can't afford it, or it's too overwhelming. You need me here 4 days a week in the middle of the day. It's like, no. We all have jobs. Some of us have families. Some of us are in school. So we try to make it easily accessible financially and time-wise.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned multiple organizations, and when I started this job, I was even a little confused. And it's good news and bad news. It's not really bad news. The good news is there are a lot of organizations affiliated with Florida Atlantic. Why don't you talk a little about, you mentioned the Adams Center, Global Ventures,
Sure.
Research Park.
Yeah.
How their programs differ and your relationships with all of them.
Sure. I would say the best way for me to describe it is I'm going to call it a pipeline, innovation, business development pipeline. So no matter where you enter, there is a place in our pipeline to support you. So we'll start with the Adams Center. That is early stage. That's students, that's education, boot camp, entrepreneur boot camp for the community. Education. That's what I would say. It's entrepreneurial education. Kevin has the Veterans Entrepreneurship Program. That's where we get our education from.
Let me interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So it's not well known that in addition to the public being your programs being open to the public, you do have a focus on veteran-owned startups as
Yes.
well.
Oh, yes.
So any veteran, any solo entrepreneurs, which there are a lot on Owls, any larger entrepreneurs, any vet-owned companies, these are great programs for
Oh,
you. I
yes.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, this is great because we always would love if you are a veteran, family and veterans, or you're interested in entrepreneurship. I really recommend you look into this. This is a no-cost program for veterans. It is sponsored by Florida. I don't want to mess up the name, but this is a grant supported by Florida Veterans Entrepreneurship. It's something along those lines, and we receive it. Dr. Cox has been awarded this, I think, for 10 years in a row because of the programming and work he puts into it. And I will say, any of these veterans, we overlap a lot. So even that program, they come to our Entrepreneurs Exchange. They work with our startups. We give them mentors if they need them. We work very closely together. So Adams Center provides the education, support, boot camp for the veterans, the Runway. See, I keep messing up, and I renamed
I
this.
know it's
I renamed
catchy.
You owe us $1 every
I
time you use the
do,
old
I
name.
do. You guys come to my next happy hour. Then you go into the Runway. Actually, no, there's a step before that. It's called Florida Atlantic Wave. And this is something that is not really mentioned a lot, but it is very
Never heard of it.
impactful.
Well, explain what that is.
Very impactful, and it is grown significantly, and it's student focused. So this is for FAU students, though we are working with Palm Beach State and their students, and we're looking to expand to other high schools and universities and whatnot. So if
incredible.
anybody's on this call and interested after I briefly explain it, please feel free to reach out and I'll give you more info. So this is an opportunity to provide a little bit of funding, up to $500, to students who are looking to explore some sort of innovation. So we have art students who are photographers and they want to create a photography business or explore their art, or what. They can apply. They can get these funds. We don't just write them a check. There's something, but we can pay up to $500 for supplies and whatnot. And then at the end of the program, they join us in the Adams Center for the Big Check Award, and they get money. And they, a lot of them, it's a way to get dip their toes into the, maybe I want to start a business, maybe I don't, with no pressure. So we essentially say, just go explore. And then we're in their ear the whole time. It's about a 5-month program, middle of the school, starts in November, ends in April. We're in their ear with mentors and ourselves going, you have something really cool. Like, we can help you. Like, do you want to keep going? You can just roll right in and we'll get you some mentors.
How do you identify the high schools that get involved?
So the high schools, Regina Thompson, she's the lead of that program. The manager of that program. And essentially she's reached out to some high schools and they've shown some interest. It's more of the high schools just letting us know this is something they're interested in exploring with us, but it's a very light lift and it's a nice way to get students engaged and
It's
active.
online, or
It's no, so they do it on their, they do it in their own.
Okay.
So
they facilitate it.
we facilitate, we
the
check
framework
in, and they get the
okay.
funding, and then they can go, and if they're building an installation on a wall for something, they take that funds, and
I love it.
we
Oh
had
my
some students who
gosh.
buy cameras that they'll never be able to afford or something. So, all right, so you have Wave, that's another step. So you have business students, and then you have all other students who might not be business. And then there's the Runway. So the Runway, you apply. Students usually will roll them in if they're interested and active and they have a business. They've gone through Kevin's boot camp. They've worked with us in some way. But then they roll into our program and we're very early stage, ideation to incubation. So if you have an idea, we'll we'll guide you and try to work to point you get to a demo. You get something, a prototype. If you're kind of on the cusp, you'll work with the mentors and they'll help guide you in networks and whatnot. So this is where we're kind of incubating you. We're giving you the support you need. Then when they're ready, they have a Series A, they have revenue. I'm not sure exactly what the Global Ventures or Research Park cutoff is, but I think it's a couple million that they've raised in capital or whatnot. Then they move to the next stage. And that's where the Research Park comes in. If the Runway is 1.0 to 1.5, I consider the Research Park 2.0 and 2.5. They're accelerating. They have sales. They have team members. Global Ventures under the Research Park really has that international spin. And I know Ryan Lilly, I'm not sure if he's been on the show.
Not
or if
yet.
he will be. He'll be able to explain all the amazing things.
We like to get Andrew Duffel as well.
Oh, Andrew's fantastic. He can tell you all the magic in the
Right.
research park. But Global Ventures is for those international companies that are usually, my understanding is they're established already internationally, and they're looking to break into the U.S. market in Florida. So
Mhm.
Ryan and Global Ventures has created this amazing program to support them from everything business related, but also where are the best schools? Where's the grocery store? Where are the neighborhoods? Like, they provide that support for those international businesses.
Maybe I was wrong. I thought Global Ventures not only does the international, but works with domestic companies as well that may have graduated, so to speak, from the Runway.
There's an overlap. There is an
Okay.
overlap with that. That's the Research Park Global Venture part. So they kind
Okay.
of, Global Ventures is very global. Research Park, which Global Ventures is under, Global Ventures falls under the Research Park. So
maybe the research park is more domestic, Global Ventures is more global. Is that a fair way to think about
I
it?
would definitely say
Okay,
that. Yeah.
that's
And
good
I'm
to know.
sure there's overlap because many of these businesses
Do both.
do
Yes,
both. So
Right. Right.
it's just more of, they're further, they're accelerating, and the support the research park has and global, the resources they have can help them take them to the next level. So it's a really nice handoff, as well as the other programs down here. It's not just FAU. You got the Endeavors, you have the 1909s, you have, oh my gosh, the
Levon Center.
Levon Center is fantastic, 35
Mhm.
Mules. So
Mhm.
there's so much going on down here, and wherever these companies fit, if it's not us, go there. Or if it's both of us, we have ventures who do multiple programs at the same time. Like,
Mhm.
take advantage of all the resources.
I
Take
love
advantage
it.
of
I was going to, I mean, I know, like, when you were talking about military program, Steve Edwards went through the incubator, and he's an incredible South Florida
Success story.
and
Recently had an exit.
Premier Virtual.
acquisition.
Premier Virtual had an
Yeah.
exit. He's still at the company.
Yeah. And so
Speaking of
maybe
that, I need
just-
to have him on the show too.
Yes.
We've talked to him.
lots of energy, lots of
Gonna
energy,
call
Steve.
in, yeah.
So, tell us about some success stories, or like give us an idea of like little, maybe, because I think just as a South Floridian, and I'm sure for the listeners, it's
Sure.
so exciting to hear all of these incredible opportunities that you're really cultivating.
Yeah, sure. So I will say we've had about 200 plus ventures. So it's, there's a lot of successes we can talk about. And quite honestly, it's one of those things I'll say it's success. It's like, well, what's your definition of success? But, you have the unicorns, Chipmunk. Who hasn't heard of
Yes,
Chipmunk?
right.
Right.
They started, Jan
A lot
started.
of these companies are at Brick too, another great
Oh, I
partner, the
know,
Boca
the guy-
Innovation Campus.
We've had Gianna on.
Yes.
Guidance is, at Brick and at Tech Runway. But so we've had a lot of different successes. We've had some major exits. Steve, Premier Virtual,
Mhm.
ModMed.
ModMed, Zimit was a big one.
Yeah.
And we're very early stage. So
Chipmunk,
when
right.
they do these exits, these are super entrepreneurs, and they
So
have
we-
been kicking their butts doing all the work.
Yes.
But
So we had two recent graduates, Wisp Energy
yeah, Scott.
has Scott Jewett on. He was
Uh-huh.
great. And we had Justin D'Angelo.
Oh yes,
Printera on.
Printera, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome too, and he's expanding a lot, so that's exciting.
And it's, what I will say, Printera is a great, I'm not going to say a great example, but something of when they were working with our mentors, they were called
Printed Patio.
Printed
Not a
Patio.
good name.
But they came in and we believed it. We knew what they were doing was impressive. And I think when working with their mentors, maybe they already had that idea. I'm not saying the mentors it, but when you have that room full of experts and they're going, look, you can't have a name like Printed Patio,
Right.
and making that change. That's big. That's
Right.
We
really
talked about that
exciting
when Justin was
companies.
on.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
really exciting for companies because that's a big move for them.
Yes.
And I will tell you, when he told me, we were at a holiday party last year, and it was just, we've changed our name and it's so great. And it was like, this is good. And
Yes.
that makes me feel good, when they're getting something out of it. A little more than just a resource. They're resonating. The mentors are helping them, and
Oh yeah.
they're making moves.
They're
and stuff.
making tangible changes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you let in like 20 to 40 startups, but how many apply and go through the process? Any
We're usually in the 3 figures for applications.
Mhm.
And yeah. So we've updated our programming recently for this current cycle. So Venture 15, you're you're the newbies, you're starting our new program here. And it doesn't change what we're teaching them. We've just tightened up our process, which is allowing us to bring in more. So yeah, we bring in 20 to 40. The application process, it's not super overwhelming. It's essentially, you just need to show that you've done some research. If you're an early stage startup, later stage, we don't really have to worry about, because they have a business plan, they submit, we can see what they're trying to do. But if you have an idea and you're like, I want to invent, I don't know, something, a new microphone, you can't apply and say, I'm going to create the best microphone in the world, bring me in. It's like, well, can you at least in the application say, I did a Google search and I think these are my competitors, and here's what I think the market is. And that's really what we looked for. There are other things on the back end, university tie-in. Can we support, like if you're a restaurant, I don't have resources to support you, but I can recommend another place that can support you. So we are early stage. We don't expect perfection, but the amount of applications that we do get, that's like a line. And I go, I don't even know what I'm looking at, because you're saying this is the best microphone. It's like, just give me a little bit more and I'm willing to, I, being the universal I, the Runway, is willing to try and support you. And if we can't, because we have a cap, we can only take so many. Every time there's something on the back end, like, and here are 10 other resources that are no cost that are available to you. SBDC, go right now. They can see you. Consultants every day. They work with everybody. They're great. Fellow programs. Even organizations like South Florida Tech Hub, which are fantastic. Score. You got the networkers with Tech Hub. You got Score with mentors. You got SBDC at FAU, at FIU. SBDC is federal and everywhere. Take advantage of these if you can't get in. And that's what we try to do.
So you mentioned South Florida Tech Hub. This might
did.
Thank you for being a very active member. Two things. Talk a little about your involvement with South Florida Tech Hub. Shameless plug for South Florida Tech Hub. Mention the award we recently got.
Yes,
You don't mind.
yes, I will. So South Florida Tech Hub, we became members when they were Palm Beach Tech. So we've been along for the ride for years, which has been great. You know, Nikki
Caboose, if you're watching, shout out my boss.
Hi, Nikki. Superstar. I was saying to Jeffrey earlier, I was like, we can't have a phone call that's less than 5 minutes because we just start going. So if I answer her call, I always need to have time on the back end because we just start talking. So South Florida Tech Hub, I mean, what a fantastic organization. I recommend it all the time for anybody who moves to this ecosystem, or you're just getting involved. I highly recommend you look them up, you apply to become a member, you attend some of their events. I call them the networkers, the connectors, the event gurus. If I need to know what's going on, I'm going to South Florida Tech Hub's website and looking around. But they're also fantastic because they promote us. They always willing to help and step in and collaborate and co-partner on events. But they also create these really great, like you have those fantastic peer groups and networking opportunities. So I would just say, you know, what they're doing for the ecosystem here and the Treasure Coast, because you keep expanding, which is fantastic. It's a big asset to our community because we run programs to educate and support and guide ventures. You provide a whole other vertical of resources and support and guidance that we don't. And so just having that network, it's been a big win. So because of that, we awarded them the Maverick Decade of Impact Award. So this is our 10th year.
I should have brought it.
I should have brought it too.
I apologize.
I have one. I have one in my office.
If you look at both of our LinkedIn profiles, I attended the event, accepted the award. There's a nice picture you and me holding the award
on LinkedIn, so we can all see it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was nice, but we, you know, it was our 10 year. This is our 10th year, 2025 right now. This 24-25, which is a exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
You've been around with Kim Graham Age and whatnot. Yeah. We started with 4 companies once a year, maybe twice. I think 4 companies. We're now at 40 twice a year. You know, so our impact
so exciting. Yeah.
And Tech Hub has been there for the entire time. So when we were listing out like who has really made an impact, I will say you were probably one of the first
Thank
people
you.
I put down and was like, they have to be included.
Thank you.
'Cause you have been. You've been along this entire time.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So Jessica, thank you for being on the show. You've been an amazing expert of the day. I knew you would, by the way. We've talked about a lot of things,
Mhm.
put out a lot of great information. I'm sure people are going to want to follow up with you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure LinkedIn is good. We have your Owwll profile here.
Yep.
Have you thought about
Owwll went through the incubator too, by the
Owwll,
way.
oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yes,
Yes.
I was waiting for a second.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry. I didn't know
Owwll.
that.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
So
Go ahead.
Owwll, Cindy knows. Owwll, Jason, and created this fantastic platform which we all use and you should too, called Owwll, and he actually came through the Runway, the Tech Runway at the time, but now the Runway program, and incubated and took advantage of the resources and the support. And
Still
made
works with
networking.
a lot of the
Still works
mentors.
with a lot of mentors, fully engaged. But you can see there's a lot of these
And
businesses.
look where we
kind
are
of like,
now.
I know, it's really exciting, and I'm really
Yes.
happy about what he's created, because this app is so cool because it gives people access to those experts that they might never have access to or might not have known. And that includes when I was looking through for myself, I was looking and seeing individuals, and they're in Chicago and they're in California, and I would never have known. I can try and find them on LinkedIn, but having something like this nicely organized and able to do a deep dive is, that's a big win. So yeah.
Have you thought about you're going to have specific office hours, or I didn't
Call
pick
Justin.
I didn't pick Justin at random. I could say I did.
Justin's the best. He's so great.
So, Justin, is that you?
Hey, Jeffrey, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
You're live,
Good morning.
Justin.
Happy to be back.
Welcome back to Tech Tuesdays.
Welcome back. Justin was a previous expert of the day. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? We have Jessica Beaver,
Hi,
who I know you know.
Justin. We were just
Oh.
talking about you.
Were your ears
Totally at
ringing? Were your ears ringing?
Totally at random. We talked
Yeah.
about you.
They were, and I'm watching, so yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. So my quick intro is, as you guys mentioned, I'm Justin. I'm the founder of Printera, and we are 3D printing with concrete, and we're doing everything from structures to landscape and architectural features.
So awesome.
So talk a little about your experience working with Jessica, going through the runway at Florida Atlantic. See, I'm good about that.
You're better at the naming than I am. The Runway at Florida.
What it meant to you, and all the resources you leveraged.
Sure. So we actually were referred to the program through another company that participated, which was Carbon Limit. We had planned to do an experiment with their additive and our 3D printing solution. And when Tim was over, we were just kind of talking, and I was looking at what his background and path to success has been, and he spoke very highly of the runway at Florida Atlantic, previously Tech Runway. After spending some time, I said, okay, this sounds really cool, and it intrigued me enough to want to find more information and ultimately apply. And we were part of Venture Class 12, and it's been awesome. We had a really great group of mentors. We participated in all the entrepreneurial exchanges. We just tried to make the absolute best out of the program that we could, right? You can make the most out of it when you participate as much as you can. And we tried to make sure we didn't miss anything. And it's been really great. And obviously the folks that are running the program, Jessica, Dr. Cox, everybody that's involved there is fantastic.
I want to say Justin and what they're doing. It's when his application came through, all of the scores were like, oh, and he really is. And I mean, he is. And I think that's what makes him, and he mentioned Carbon Limit, Tim and Angel and them, they're doing amazing things too. What makes them unique, and this is just kind of a reminder for entrepreneurs, is take advantage of everything you can, because that just gets you the exposure, it gets you the experience. And look what Justin and them are doing now. And it's not just Tech Runway, but when you take advantage and you meet South Florida Tech Hub and all these other experts and mentors, that just opens up a whole world of resources and access.
And it's a perfect example of the power of community, right? I mean, how South Florida Tech Hub, Frontera, the Runway, and Owwll, which is another community. Everybody's I
Right.
mean, I texted Justin the other day, and I met him here.
Oh yeah.
And I was leaving my son's school, and we talked about it when we were here because they had just done a tour at Frontera at Pine School, and I saw the benches and the flower pots, and I texted him. I said, "Look, it was so cool. They're so beautiful." And it's just
Awesome.
great to see, the ripple effects that the Runway's having, that South Florida Tech Hub's having, and businesses like you, Justin, and Dennis and I too. I mean, it helps our businesses too, and also with TEDx as well, because TEDx is a nonprofit. It's a volunteer role for myself and Eric, and Eric's been very involved. Yes, shout out to Eric.
Justin, any other cool projects that you're involved with? Aside from the school?
Yeah, so 2025 is shaping up for us to be the year of housing. So we've got
awesome.
we've got 3 projects that have been we've just been kind of waiting on them because they've been in the permitting phase, but we're getting real good indication that all 3 of them are going to clear pretty soon.
Yay.
So
Wow.
yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, they're huge for publicity. They're huge for really showcasing, how the technology can be used in an effective way to actually help society achieve more affordable housing. So I'm super excited about those. And yeah, no, it's an exciting year.
I'm thrilled for you.
Congrats. Me too.
Amazing thing.
Can you say any of those 3 opportunities? Can you say who they are? You can't until it's announced.
Sure. Yeah. So they're actually 2 of them are with developers that are focused in tiny homes. So one company is called Minneapolis.
Oh, I love
like
that
Minneapolis,
name.
right? But Minneapolis. So yeah.
And
So
they're
they're
in Florida located?
They all 3 are Florida located. So Minneapolis is in the Punta Gorda kind of area. So they're doing a 750 square foot tiny home, and then they recently added a single car garage. Similar to that, the largest project that we're going to be printing is a close to 2,500 square foot home,
Wow.
single family home. We're calling it Print Deco because it's designed to look like an Art Deco style home.
I love that.
So
And
cool.
that was actually the owner of the property. They were directly interested in 3D printing, so they went out of their way to find a 3D printer who could print their home, and came across us. So that was really cool because we love when people are motivated by the technology and just interested in that front.
Amazing.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
That is cool. That
Yeah.
kind of shows where the industry, if people are searching out 3D printed homes and
yeah.
whatnot, I mean, you're at the forefront of this. This is amazing because I don't think
Mhm.
it's going to
Yep.
get less. It's just going to continue to.
And the tiny home
increase.
industry, I just think is
Huge.
huge too.
Huge.
And 2,500 square feet is not tiny. It's like a good size.
No,
That's
yeah,
a
that's
real
an-
house.
It's a real house.
Yeah,
The other
that's
one.
not a
First
tiny home.
Yeah, that's
Right.
The
That's
first
a
home.
regular
But-
home.
First home.
One
just-
more thing I'll add on the topic of the printed houses, just because of the timing and what we're seeing in the media now. We had a lot of interest in hurricanes, right? Because of the
Mhm.
superior strength and shape that you can create for the housing. But now we're also seeing a resurgence in interest in fireproof homes, right? Because of
Oh,
the
California.
very
Yeah.
unfortunate events
Right.
in California. But it all stands to support the use case for 3D printed concrete, because if you have a concrete structure, the shell of your home, right, that is inherently a more fire resistant material. And as people look at trying to account for natural disasters, whether it's a hurricane or a fire or a flood, right, I think that the 3D printing solution can present a lot of opportunity.
I agree. I agree.
And also affordable housing. We talked about that a little when you were here. The tiny homes are like a great option.
Mhm.
I don't think a day
Oh.
goes by where affordable housing, especially in South Florida,
Oh yeah.
is not
a
an issue.
conversation,
Yeah.
It's not
right?
an issue directly. So
Justin and his team are just doing so many amazing things. So yeah.
Mhm.
it's when I first, so Justin's been an active member of South Florida Tech Hub. When I first met Justin and got to know him, and kind of a random thought, that's one of the things I find interesting about this job, and I'm sure your job.
Mhm.
You get to talk to a lot of interesting people, and a lot of the companies have very disruptive technologies.
Yes.
So when I met Justin, and learn of the technology. Very interesting, very disruptive, and I think you'll have some real success there.
Yeah, it is. I think what we do is very unique, and we do get eyes on things that yeah, just you look at them and it kind of just blows your mind going,
Right.
how did I not think of that, or somebody else, or uh, um, you don't know what to think, but like you believe in it and you see it and you say, I know the industry is going in this way, or we're seeing it, and then just something comes out of nothing. You feel that way. It's exciting. It also reinforces, I think, from a regional ecosystem. Sometimes people, a lot of times, we're getting better at this, is we are not Miami. And I want to reinforce that. Miami does amazing things. They have their whole ecosystem mantra, but Broward, Palm Beach County and stuff, we have some of the best innovation coming out of it. And having programs like ours and organizations like yours, it's just reinforcing not only to the state and the region, but on a national level of, we're competitors and there's brilliant stuff coming out of here.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to a lot of our conversations we've had on the back end of how do we keep people here so they don't feel like they have to go to Silicon Valley, Chicago, New York, or Austin. And we're doing a really good job of it. And it's because of companies like this, like Justin's, where it's like,
yeah, it's great.
They're doing awesome things down here. And
it's a great feather in the cap for the community. And I was just going to say,
Cindy, I'm going to interrupt you. Justin,
sorry,
we've
30
got about
seconds.
30 seconds. Any last parting thoughts?
No, just it's good to be here, and my invitation is open to everyone on the panel, but everyone listening. If anyone wants to come check us out, our doors are always open, and it's cool to see it.
So call Justin on Owwll, or connect with him on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Justin.
Appreciate it, Justin.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a
Great
good
talking
one.
to you. I'll see you soon.
Rock on, pun
We'll see you
intended.
soon. I was going to add to the point.
That was good. Rock on.
I have my moments.
You said, but it took me
I have my
Love
moments.
it.
I had to think of that.
No, I was going to piggyback on the thought about interesting jobs, because each of us here, and Justin too, has to learn about all different industries. So it keeps things interesting, but it also keeps you knowledgeable
Yes.
about so many different industries. Like, for example, we have to take a deep dive, and Dennis and I talk about this a lot. Like, we have to become subject matter experts
Yeah.
for our clients. So we learn about so many different industries because we need to speak on their behalf and learn. And in order to promote them or speak on their behalf is, you have to know about it. So, and then obviously you work with so many cool
Yeah.
companies, and just learning about them, and Jeffrey too. So, and it's very neat. And I know, just having met Justin and learned about what he did, and I think what he's doing, it's just so great to have him in our backyard.
Yeah.
He also has several verticals too. So that's cool as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, it goes back to, and I can't speak for him, in his experience, but just seeing it from what I saw was they came in with, it's still a fantastic vertical, right? And now it's been a year, it's been 2 years. You've been able to expand. They've updated the name and the branding. They have different advisors and supporters and funding opportunities in the Minneapolis. I still love that name.
Yeah.
And the
I
other thing,
know.
but it's exciting because a lot of times that's what it takes is you start with the one vertical and you become successful, or you figure that out and then you expand to more. And I think that's also something a lot of startups sometimes they end up kind of, lack of better, screwing themselves over a little bit because they try to do everything. And it's like, and that's also where customer discovery and market validation, it's like you could have 5 verticals, start with one. The one you're going to start being successful with, you can always add more. And they're a good example of it.
If somebody wants to follow all the success stories, or somebody that's going through, do you guys have some kind of a marketing hub portal?
Sure. So
can
we
see the
have
alumni.
Yeah. So the website itself under our techrunway.fau.edu. I know our name is new, but we have yet to do as marketing experts, you understand you can't just get rid of a website that we've had. So we're doing the transition. But if you just Tech Runway Ventures, it'll list out all the previous ventures. We're still updating the new class. Well, they haven't officially kicked off, so we'll wait a little bit to see how they do the first few weeks. That's one way. Another way is to sign up for our newsletter. Newsletter actually encompasses the Adams Center updates. So you'll hear about boot camps, veteran entrepreneurship classes, higher education. You'll hear about the Runways programming, applications. You'll hear about all of that. And then we also promote the community at large and our companies. So they'll be able to learn if, for example, Justin, if, this deal, the Minneapolis, and he sends us an email, we'll put it in the newsletter and we'll notify everybody. But, and then we have marketing handles at Tech Runway. We have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, we have a Twitter account, Facebook, YouTube. I'm pretty sure they're all just Tech Runway, but I can share that with Jeffrey and others. If
I think Tech Runway has not made the change yet on LinkedIn. It's still listed.
No, they have. There's an entire process campaign that we're working through. So right now it's the Runway, but just say Tech Runway and you'll find us.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay.
So, shifting gears a little, as taxpayers, we often think maybe our tax funds aren't going to good use. So here, I like to try to be positive, and all the organizations you mentioned have had such a tremendous impact, and thank you for that. But I think we talked a little about this. In addition to being part of the Florida Atlantic,
Yes.
you've got other organizations fund you as
Yes.
well. Talk a little about that.
So our program being that we're not accredited program. So like a student doesn't go through and get 3 credits or we are a standalone program under the university. So we are funded partially by the university, but we're also funded privately and publicly through other funding sources. So City of Boca, thank you. Just El Vecchio, the mayor, the council people, they have been some of our biggest and longest supporters, going on over 10 years continuously. Any way they can help, Jess and her team are fantastic. Palm Beach County has been a consistent supporter, similar to Boca, 10 plus years. We have some private banks. We have law firms that donate in kind and funding. So they'll do advise, lawyers will advise and guide and provide services that way. And then donors and sponsors. There's a lot of, there's a lot of philanthropic individuals out there. I think, though, we're unique in that standpoint. We don't have a huge pool of private donors because many times, and I understand that they want to give to an organization, maybe it's the food bank or something like that resonates. But we do get those donors that are serial entrepreneurs, those that want to kind of give back and pay it forward in some way. And a lot of times they'll step up and they'll underwrite something, and which we're really grateful for, because everything that comes in goes right back to our participants. So if I get extra funding, I'm not paying myself more. I'm not giving myself and it's coming back. It might just mean now I'm buying 20 Emerge tickets and giving them to, versus our company's paying $600 for a ticket. So we're supported by a lot of public and private funding, as well as the fantastic support from the university, because the university really is the driving force behind us. And not only is it financial, it's also the workforce. We have professors, we have faculty, we have staff, and then the biggest workforce in our community is the university. What's graduating? All those students graduating become workforce. So interns, we'll pay our companies interns so they can have interns. So
no, it's incredible. It's incredible. And when you think about how that really translates to the bottom line for these companies, it's huge.
Yeah. And I just remember we had recently croc tanks. So I don't know if people we had the sharks. You were all there. I was
we 2 weeks ago we had Andrea Beal on.
Happy Paws.
And it was the first time we've had a live pet,
the
live cat.
Success story.
Jeff's cat was on.
And that's Kevin's been involved. But
I forgot EpiPaws through Tech Runway as well. Excuse me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So she came through the Runway, and she's obviously just gone gangbusters. She's
right
with Kevin, but it kind of we had Croc Tank. We called it Croc Tank with the sharks. We had
so smart.
Even though we don't have crocodiles, people. I love the name. Croc Tank was super cute, and but those were all FAU companies, Florida Atlantic companies. They all had a tie-in, and 3 of the 4 were Tech Runway. There were participants. So, and there was a deal. And, when the sharks, even walking off the stage, said out loud, this was the first university they've ever done this. They've never done something like this.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, they've never done a setup like this
Be back?
at a university kind of setting. But what they said was, when they walked out, they made a passing comment of, I don't think they expected this. I think they came in like,
Mhm.
this will be fun. And they walked away going, wow. Like,
Yeah,
wow,
how
there's innovation.
impressive.
And
Impressive.
all the applicants who didn't make it on stage, their information was still sent to them because,
Oh, how cool.
there's TV worthy and there's investment worthy, and you needed a mix.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
some of those companies, if not all, who knows what conversations might be
Yeah,
happening in the
that's
background.
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what a
Do you
great
know if
catalyst.
They're going to be
Little
back
stage.
next year.
I don't know if they will. This was organized through NobleCon conference, and I know they handled it. This might have been a last year. President Bush was the keynote. This year was the Sharks. But I think it just kind of put us on a stage. It's not just as not only as a university, but the innovation, and we can shine a light on the Adams Center research
Oh
park
yeah,
and the
kind of
runway.
put it
going,
on the map.
we're all doing it together because it's all of us. We
Mhm.
can all kind of take. I'm not taking credit for them, but we can all kind of high five and go, "Wow, they
That was
did
amazing.
Yes,
Andrea was
incredible.
amazing.
Andrew's
Yeah.
fantastic.
She's
Oh,
brilliant.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So I was going to call someone else, but I think I'm going to pass
We're
because
covered.
he's not available. He was 15 minutes ago.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. We just
That's okay.
talk.
Whoopsie.
That happens on Al. So in life there are good times and bad times,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and this is one of the bad, not times, the things
Better that we get more talk with
well,
Jessica here.
We could just.
we can. I want to be sensitive to everybody's time, including yours, Jessica. So why don't we kind of wrap up a little? And I am sad, but it's been amazing. You've been an amazing guest. So why don't we go what I call around the horn? Denis, why don't you mention anything you have coming up? Anything you want to ask that we didn't talk about? You'll go, then Cindy will go, and then Jessica, and then I'll end it.
No, I really enjoyed learning about the runway at the Florida Atlantic.
You
Did I
got
say
it.
that right?
You did it.
I just moved to Boca about 3 years ago, so this is all exciting new information. Definitely want to get more information on how to get involved, like on more hands-on volunteer basis. But the boot camp sounds really interesting. Maybe not for my business, but for some of my clients who are local. That's really exciting, and just gonna sign up to the newsletter, just follow all the social media just to stay in the know. That was really good information. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to give a shout out to Shrimp Tank too, because I know just having been on Shrimp Tank and clients on Shrimp Tank, I know that they talk about that a lot, the boot camp. But okay, two things I want to mention. One is Podfest Expo this weekend. That Owwll is a huge,
Thank you. I forgot to
huge
mention that.
sponsor.
Oh, okay.
And if you use the code Owwll, you get 10% off on tickets. So we're all going to be there. I'm hoping Jeffrey's going to be there.
Let me
Maybe.
jump in.
We'll talk after.
My bad. I forgot Podfest. Everyone out there that's currently a podcaster or soon to be or want to be, go to Podfest. Jason
In Orlando
this coming week. What are the actual dates?
It's 16th, 17th, 18th, and
Right.
19th.
Oh,
We're
it's a
going to
long
be there the
weekend.
17th and the 18th.
So
We're having a VIP party on.
Yeah, Jason will be there. If you've not met Jason live and in person, Denis will be there live and in person. Cindy will be there live and in person. Unfortunately, I am not going to be able there. I'll be there in spirit, but not live and in person. I'm going to be watching the podcast though. So if you haven't registered and you want to register, use Owwll. I believe you get a discount for the reference code of Al, and come meet Jason, Denis, and Cindy. I forgot to mention that. My bad.
Cindy and Jeffrey, where do you find the link for the
It's on podfest.com.
Podfest.com?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or I think it's Podfest Expo, but it's on Jason's social media for Owwll. Yeah. He's been
share it.
promoting it a lot on Instagram and all the other channels for Owwll.
Podfestexpo.com.
Any questions, call Jason on Al. I'm sure he'll be happy to talk to you.
Yes. Okay. I said one more thing. So at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus, Denis and I are partnering on an event coming up on March 14th called the $1 Million Message. And we have 2 influencers, Forbes Riley and Joy McAdams, who was a TEDx speaker, who are going to be speaking. And then we have 8 other entrepreneurs who are going to be sharing their $1 million message. And I would love for you to come, Jessica.
Hey.
Yeah,
I would love that.
will.
That's right up my
Yeah.
alley.
Maybe there's
Share it.
some people
Yeah,
that are
my
going through the
backyard.
boot
Yeah.
camp or
Yeah.
anybody going through the program are interested in sharing
No,
their
I love
message.
this info because
Yeah.
we share this type of like the podcast. I'm not sure
Mhm.
which one of my ventures, but someone might be share that.
Right.
I mean, I'd love to share this, so I'll
Yeah.
get some more.
It's
info
great
from you.
networking too. You know, that's
Yeah.
at Brick, the Podfest Expo, but there's a lot of people coming from South Florida that are going to be there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So-
yeah.
So Brick, longtime Tech Hub
Yep.
partner as well. We had Gianna on several weeks ago. One of our
She's
first
the
guests.
best.
Gianna's
So
fantastic.
she's out there.
Yep.
I forgot, Dennis. You didn't ask me, but go ahead and mention your other company. Promote that a little as
$1
well.
million media. That's
No,
the new
no,
venture.
your other
Oh,
one.
Me and
The
Cynthia. Well,
Curious
Yeah,
Digital.
Curious Digital, that's our healthcare digital marketing agency. So we work with local med spas, home care agencies, and dental offices. So if anybody's looking to get a free audit, just how to maximize their exposure, reach out to me. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the plug.
All right.
You're welcome. Jessica, parting thoughts.
All right.
Anything you want to mention or say
Yes,
we didn't talk
so
about?
Actually, and Dennis, thank you you said this when the first round, when you were saying your updates was how to get involved, right? I didn't mention this, but there are a lot of ways to get involved in what we do, and not just at the Runway, but it overlap. I know it, because we work so closely together. So once you're in, you have your finger in everything going on. Is you can become a mentor. We are always looking for industry and functional experts. We have startups of all different types, sizes, stages. And so we're always looking for skilled mentors. It's a very light lift. We have mentor meetings. We have networking opportunities. Well, I'll take you out. I'll buy you a beer and you can just network and whatnot. You mentor companies. You get to see the veterans. You see the business pitch competition. A lot of different things to get involved in. So we have some mentors that only help with pitching and others that work with companies. Other ways to get involved are obviously as sponsors. If you're a service provider, we're always looking for support. All of this, once again, goes right back into our entrepreneurs and participants. We just look for the resources and support to help them. Programming applications have just closed. We're starting our new class, but we have the boot camp next week. If you're interested, please look that up. Adams Center for Entrepreneurship Boot Camp. If you Google it, it'll pop right up. It's very reasonably priced. It's to educate you. It's for all stages. I recommend doing that. We have some other things that'll be coming down in a couple of months, but I'd say the big one and more info to come is going to be April 16th. That's going to be our Florida Atlantic Innovation Awards ceremony. And what that will be, it will be open to the public. It will be at Tech Runway unless it gets too big, and then I'll call Gianna and be like, Gianna,
There you go.
I need Brick. But this is where the business plan competition through the Adams Center, all of those winners, they get their big checks. Florida Atlantic, all of Wave, the students, innovators, they get their big checks. Tech Run or the Runway, they get their big checks. It's going to be a fun event, and it's just a way to celebrate all of these entrepreneurs and everything they've gone through. So that'll be a fun public-facing event in Boca, which we'll share resources with. I'm sure I'm missing something, but you've gotten a lot of info.
A lot of info.
A lot of amazing
Lot-
information
and
that so many people might not know about.
And I'm always happy to talk to anybody. You can always shoot me an email. It's jbeaver1@fau.edu, LinkedIn. You can always reach out that way. Tech Runway, just email Tech Runway. I know it's the Runway, but that's still our email right now. I have a whole team of individuals. If I can't answer or if I'm not available, I have a team of people that can help. So,
And you can always call her on Owwll.
and you can always call me on Owwll.
Soon,
Yes.
soon to be available. Soon to have office hours.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
I forgot about that. Yes, I am.
Stay tuned.
I am going to be scheduling that. I'm on Owwll, and I'm always available that way too.
So thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning in reverse chronological order. Thanks for watching on live or the replay.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for everything. If you're not a member of Tech Hub, reach out to me. Be happy to talk to you. Call me on Owwll. And over and out. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.